This is Time Signatures with Jim Ervin, a podcast and radio program presented by the Capital Area Blues Society in Lansing, Michigan.
Driving up and down these Michigan roads, yeah.
And now, here he is, your host, Jim Ervin.
Baby, I'm home.
Well, hey, everyone, and thank you so much, Parker. I'm your host, Jim Ervin, and this is Time Signatures. Please do me a favor and click that subscribe button right down there in the lower right corner, if you would, for me. That way you'll never miss an episode again. And as always, thank you so much for doing so. The 2026 International Blues Challenge, held each year in Memphis, Tennessee, recently concluded. And boy, talk about an eventful trip for our Michigan musicians and cab attendees. First, drummer Matthew Kelly of the Brendan Lindsley Band fell seriously ill and was hospitalized just before the semifinal round. And then a member of our own board from the Capital Area Blues Society was at the Rum Boogie Cafe and towards the end of the competition. And when she was coming down the spiral staircase there, she got nudged, fell forward, and ultimately fell down, breaking her leg, and actually spent some time in the hospital getting that repaired. The good news is both Matthew and Deb are back home today, and both are mending well. With that out of the way, I'm pleased to welcome our members of another Michigan band making the trek to Memphis, Ken Marten and James Murphy. Welcome to Time Signatures, man. How you guys doing, man? You got home unscathed.
Hey, Erv, thanks for having us today. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Jim. Appreciate it.
Indeed. Now, and the name of your band, let's get that out there.
DeSoto Drive. It's a duo. So, yeah.
Very
DeSoto
cool.
Drive.
Very cool. Now, look what happened weather-wise. I mean, you guys, after all of that stuff that happened to the band member and to the Cabs board member, you guys get home and like a week later, they get hammered with ice and snow. I am so glad that you didn't get caught in that mess.
You know what? This is my fourth trip to Memphis. I've been there as a vacationer. I've been there as a judge twice at the IBC.
Oh, wow.
And that was the last 2 years. And I did get stuck in snow and ice. Those last 2 years. Oh, yeah. This was some kind of a blessing. I'm not sure how to categorize it, but it was the first time I've been down there where it was actually good weather. I mean, just because you're in Tennessee doesn't mean you're in the deep South necessarily, you know.
That's true. That's true. All right, so let's get into it, gentlemen. Firstly, Ken, I understand that you're the secretary of the Detroit Blues Society, correct?
That is correct. I am. I've been the secretary for about 5 years now.
Okay. We're going to talk about the DBS Challenge, if you would. When was it? Where was it held? And how many competitors did you face on the solo duo category?
It was June 22nd, and it was held at the Cadieux Cafe. And there were 5 people signed up to compete, 5 acts, I should say, and one of them backed off for health reasons. So there were actually 4 of us competing.
And that's just in the solo duo category, correct?
That's correct. Yep.
Okay. And of course, you had Brendan Lindsley along representing the band entry from DBS as well. So you guys had some good company down there, didn't you? We
did, actually. Yeah, we had a lot of folks that were down there. Yeah, Brendan brought a whole posse of individuals. We brought a smaller posse because we're a smaller act. Our wives were there, and the DBS president Willie Toll was there. He was a judge this year, as well, and he was there with a friend of his who's from Florida, but originally from Michigan.
Okay,
so we had a small contingent of supporters too.
So now you said you've been down there several times. Was this your first time competing in the DBS Challenge, guys?
Yes, it was.
Okay. What was that experience like, given the importance of the outcome?
That's a good question. I think I'll let James field it.
I was actually going to get it from both of you.
Well, I mean, the importance of the outcome, the outcome wasn't really in our minds, at least my mind. It was just it was an honor to be there. So it
Sure.
was just to be able to represent Detroit, go down to Memphis, be amongst top-notch musicians from all over the world, and just being a part of it was a really great honor. So the end result was just coming away with a fabulous experience in my mind, no matter what happened.
Ken, what's your take on it?
That's a pretty good analysis that James just provided there. Hats off, buddy. But yeah, just he's right. The honor of being able to represent the Detroit Blues Society, the honor of being able to be in such good company, musically speaking, with so many great acts, and I don't just mean the folks that we were quote unquote competing against at
Right.
King Jerry Lawler's. The folks that were in Memphis in general. I mean, we saw a lot of great bands. While we weren't when we weren't competing, and we were able, and when we got knocked out of the round, we were able to on the next day, I guess it was a Friday night, to go check out a bunch of different bands, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, it's just amazing how much talent there is from like around the country and frankly around the world.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's talk about Memphis a little bit here. Was this your first time competing down there in the IBC as well?
Yes, it was.
Yep.
Okay. Now I know you said you served as a judge, so I guess I want to do a follow-up with you on that. I guess serving as a judge kind of gave you a little bit of a leg up, didn't it, as far as to, what would be expected to some degree? I mean, I know it changes with the judges, okay? But did it give you kind of like a sense of what you were heading into?
I would say yes, it did. Although ultimately it didn't bear fruit. If you see what I mean. I mean, because we didn't advance. Again, I'm not trying to harp on that or complain about it because we had a great time. But yeah, having been a judge, and I judged both the band competition or segment or portion as well as the solo duo. I mean, I saw what other musicians were putting forth in previous years, and I was able to sort of formulate an idea. And I'll tell you what one of them was. I mean, this is what I noticed instantly. The acts that perform original music or mainly original music tend to advance or do better scoring wise than bands that go to Memphis and play covers really well. I mean, everybody plays covers really well. I mean,
and rightfully so.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, lots of people can play Spoonful and play the heck out of it, but how many times have people heard that?
Right. Yep.
Looking for some originality, whether it's an original take on that song or if it's originals, wholly original tunes altogether. And James and I have been working on original music for 20 years now. Not everything we do is an original song, but we've been crafting and writing tunes for that long.
Okay. James?
Yeah. How are you?
I just kind of wanted to get your take.
My take was, I had never been down there, and the only time I had been in any type of musical competition was Ken and I did the DBS Music Challenge a few years prior.
Okay.
Quite a few years prior. Ken, what was that? Maybe
2019 or 2020, one of the two.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
And we did not advance. And that was kind of just this time I took it a little bit more seriously going into the Detroit Challenge.
Okay.
As far as, my Ken's always professional and I'm professional for the most part, but sometimes I take it, tongue in cheek. But I was a little bit more serious as far as my presentation. And since I do most of the singing, and in our sets, I did all the singing for what we put forward in the DBS challenge and down in Memphis. So I worked on it a little bit. And then going down there, they provide you with kind of like a rubric of what the judges have and how the scoring goes down in your like international IBC booklet that you get. And reading through that, and it talks about blues content and that being one of the most important pieces, and each category has its own multiplication factor in the scoring. So looking at that. And then seeing what other people were doing during the 2 nights that we were playing, I feel like we put our best foot forward. Could we have done anything better? Not too much. I'm very pleased with how we performed, down in Memphis. So I'm really proud of that. And we didn't make it into the semifinals. Well, we were both a little disappointed in that, maybe even a little surprised, but wasn't in the cards. And when you're looking at going up against, you don't have any, you have no idea who you're going up against that first night. And you're going up against the exact same people the second night with different judges.
In a
and
different
only
venue?
at the same venue. So you're in the same room, which is a plus. You're playing at a different point in the night, so they switch up the roster of people going each night. But it was in seeing who went on to the semifinals. We were not surprised at some. We were a little surprised at others, but we're really proud of what we did.
Yeah, and judging is subjective, period. There's no pure way to have judging unless it's a very strict down the line set of rules that people have to go by. And I have to be honest, I've heard from several different people that they were surprised on who won ultimately. We're no sour grapes, not talking casting any aspersions or anything like that. But there are people that felt that some of those guidelines in that rubric might have been kind of looked past a little bit. And so when I hear that you guys were a little bit surprised to some degree, it doesn't surprise me. It's not the first time I've heard it. But let's talk about that first day of competition, right? Did you guys have butterflies because it was a big stage, or how did that go for you? Ken, I'll start with you.
I wouldn't say we had. I didn't have butterflies. Let's put it that way. The songs that the 5 or 6 songs that we selected for that night were the same both nights, weren't they, James? Same songs. We did the same, didn't we?
Yeah. We did. We stuck with the exact rather than switching things up.
Yeah. So we rehearsed the heck out of those. So whether we're, I realize it's always different when people are looking at you, but we played all those songs in public. We played all those songs in our rehearsal space. So and we played them in the exact order. We figured out the timing and everything else, even with the little banter that would go in between tunes, just to make sure that we were within the time frame, because there is a penalty if you go over, and there's a penalty if you stop too soon. It's several minutes too soon. We wanted to make sure we didn't hit any of that. So by the time we got down there and played, I would say no to the butterflies. At a different note, though, I have to blame myself for this, in a sense. There were 2 microphones. James is the main singer. I do some backup stuff. I play the harp through my own harp mic. When I stepped up to the vocal mic to do some background vocal, it wasn't working. And we were the 3rd or 4th act that night, so I guess I just assumed, because it was there, that I didn't check it before we started performing, and I probably should have. And then I should have said something right off the bat. I didn't check it. I just assumed it was going to work. And when I realized it wasn't working, and I looked up, the sound man was not even behind the board. So what do you do?
Man. Yeah. Did you sing a little louder?
That was something like that. That threw me off a little bit.
I'm
But
sure.
as for the but not performance butterflies, no. But like thinking to myself, oh my goodness, is this going to cost us because they can't hear me? And it's part of the song is the background part of several
Right.
songs are the background vocals, and if I'm wondering if the judges took points away. So I don't know. And incidentally, I'll tell you this: we haven't seen the judges' comments yet either. Those are supposed to be downloaded and released at some point. I to all the bands just so that they can see what the judges thought. Criticism is awfully helpful sometimes.
Sure.
I did email the Blues Foundation last week just to ask about it, and they're not available yet. So who knows when that'll
Okay.
actually happen? But I can't wait to see it and see if that element played a
See
factor.
if that hurts you. Yeah.
Yeah.
James, how about you? Any butterflies? Any nervous issues at all?
Unfortunately, I'm one of those performers that kind of hate performing. So like every time I get on a stage, there's a little bit of butterflies. I'm
Okay.
always I'm always a little bit nervous, no matter even like at an open mic or a blues jam or something. I still, for whatever reason, there's no skin in the game and it's no big deal. But and I've been doing this for years. It's just for whatever reason, it's just one of those things. Even to the point where I kind of like cloistered myself away from the table. We were there with our wives and everyone, we're all kind of sitting around a table, kind of, closer to the stage. And then I put my guitars towards the back of the room at a table where there's some other, near a table where other musicians. And before we went on, I kind of hung out there away from Ken and our wives and just kind of like focused a little bit.
Sure.
Um, and I noticed, it took me a number of songs once we did start playing to kind of, settle in. And when you have like 25 minutes, you don't have a couple of songs to settle in. I did go to, down at the fest, the challenge, they have master's classes, and I went
Yep.
to one of the
Yep.
master's classes, and the musician, guitar player who's given the master's class talked about, just being able to feel the song and feel what you're playing, and taking that moment to just you know hold off on playing and just try to feel it. And that's what I took into the second night because I went that afternoon and then that second night. So that second night for me was a lot more at peace and just trying to feel the music and enjoy it. So
Good. So you garnered something from the program. That's good.
mhm.
That's good. So I have another question for you guys. While you were waiting for your turn and after, I know you said you heard a lot of great music down there, a lot of great bands. What were your thoughts about those that you were competing against in your building? Now, I've heard that the IBC is chock full of talent from across the globe. Did you find that to be true? And James, I'll go ahead and start with you on this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I thought that, I'm not trying to cast any dispersions on anybody, but,
Sure.
some people I was very impressed with what they were doing. And since I'm my own worst critic, I guess, I kind of have a critical, I'm always judging things as things are going, especially musicians sometimes.
Right.
So I'm in a competition, so I'm looking at other musicians. I was I really loved what there was a guy playing some old ragtime, but even though he was playing different songs, every single song he was playing was sounded exactly the same. And I'm like, this guy sounds great, but if he would switch it up and structure the song differently, if he moved things around, man, he would actually, I think he would have been, he could have been in it to win it, but he didn't move forward. But I was surprised at, I was also surprised at how sometimes, how average things were at times. And I strive for mediocrity. I think I'm mediocre. So I was like, yeah, some of these guys are just really
Sorry,
mediocre.
guys.
Um,
Yeah.
but but the beautiful thing is everyone, no matter who you were, they were up there doing their thing. And that's what's great about it. Going up there and seeing all these musicians playing blues. And that's one of the things. I was talking to one of the people, in the place, and he was there. I think his friend was competing, and he came to him, and he and his wife came, and they were like, we're in Memphis and everybody's playing blues. This is like heaven for me. And I mean, you're there, everyone's playing blues. That's fantastic. And everybody's up there doing their thing and playing from their heart, no matter what it is. And if that's not the blues, I don't know what is.
There you go. Ken?
Yeah, I guess, I tried to watch the competition with a critical eye, and I was making notes on which act I thought was going to advance and which one wasn't. And I had us in there. I should say this: I think there were 11 acts that performed, and 4 advance. So I had us as one of the 4. And
Okay.
sure, I'm biased, of course, right? But I try to be as objective as possible. I don't know how accurate any of that can really be, but I was trying to be as objective as possible. So there were a couple acts that I was surprised, and a couple that I thought really deserved to move ahead. So, and then there were a couple that I thought, no, they're not going to, and they didn't. So, I don't know. How can you really slice it up? And you never know what's going to. Even though there are judges' guidelines and regulations, I was going to say this earlier. Kind of slipped my mind. I know that all the judges are volunteers, and there's a ton of them down
Yes.
there, right? There's all these
Yes.
venues, and the judges are all volunteers. The event is really only as good as the volunteers that you can get to staff it. So they can't put too much complaint into that, really. And by the same token, you're a member of the Capital Area Blues Society. I'm a member of the Detroit Blues Society, and we both know that those organizations run on the goodwill of volunteers.
Yes, sir.
If there weren't volunteers, there would be no events. There would be no newsletter. There would be no website. There would be no Blues Jam, monthly Blues Jam. We have one coming up this Saturday, incidentally. None of that would happen. So it's hard to poo-poo to the fact that people are judging, and maybe you don't agree with them. It is what it is, and I'd like to have moved on, but we didn't. And we've both made our peace with it, and onward and upward. Really,
Indeed.
James wrote a song based on the experience already. So, if nothing else, we got a new tune out of it.
Mick Colassa, I don't know if you're familiar with him, Mississippi Mick.
Yeah.
He wrote a song about never getting even a BMA nomination he's got 16 albums out there, and he's never been nominated once, and it was kind of made a tongue-in-cheek song about it. So I can imagine. I'd love to hear that song sometime. But I've heard it said that the IBC, for the most part, is truly a surreal experience for the performers, but it's also an incredible opportunity to network with other musicians and form some good relationships while you're on Beale Street. What are your thoughts on that, guys?
Go ahead, Ken.
Yeah, I participated in an afternoon or late morning activity that they had called speed dating, where you get to one person from each act gets to sign up, and you spend a couple of minutes at a table that is staffed by someone from a record label or someone from a booking agency or someone from a festival organization, and you go, they call out time, and you kind of rotate, you go around, and right. I did that, and I really enjoyed having discussions with people in the industry. And can I make connections? Yeah, I took a few cards, and I was invited to submit a couple of tunes once we get them recorded. I was invited to do that, so I will take advantage of that, or we will take advantage of that when the time comes. As for the networking, yeah, I met a lot of folks and exchanged a lot of business cards and email addresses, and as soon as I got home, a day or two later, I emailed everybody and said, great seeing you, liked your set. let's keep in touch, Facebook friend, all that kind of thing. Is it going to translate to some kind of band momentum? I don't know.
You never know, do you?
But at the same time, it doesn't matter.
Right,
I mean,
right.
it would be nice if it did, but I mean, I can't see us driving to Alabama or something for a gig. I mean,
At least at this point.
kind of unlikely. What was that? I'm sorry.
I said at least at this point.
Oh yeah, right.
So DeSoto Drive, as we've said, did not make the cut into the semifinal round. You said that you stuck around, got to see some great music and whatnot. Did you get to do any sightseeing while you were down there, or did you pretty much stick close to Beale Street?
I'll let you handle that because you did more of that than I did.
Yeah, since this was my first time in Memphis, my wife and I, we went to Graceland. We went to
Nice.
we went to, and that was fantastic. We went to the Civil Rights National Museum there. We went to the Blues Museum. We went to the Memphis Music Hall of Fame. And all the shops around there. And of course, my wife and I had never heard of the Peabody Ducks, so I had no idea what the Peabody Ducks were. And my wife doesn't listen to blues music at all.
Okay.
I don't even know if she knows anything about Memphis, but she knows about the Peabody Ducks, and she had to see the Peabody Ducks. So we saw or at least she saw the Peabody Ducks march. I saw them, and but yeah, we did a little sightseeing. We drove around for a while. I was able to, I run, so I was able to get out and run the city a little bit, run along the river. Yeah, it's a fantastic town. It really is, and a great place to visit for a few days. That's for sure.
That's cool. All right, guys. This program primarily is to give people a sense of what you experienced while you were down at Memphis for the International Blues Challenge, with the hopes that somebody out there is watching and wants to learn a little bit more and maybe take part in the IBC in the future. What would your best advice be to anyone seeking to compete at the International Blues Challenge? Ken, I'll start with you.
The first thing I would say is sort of a repeat of what I said earlier. You really need to concentrate on original music. And if you're struggling with writing original songs, find a friend that can give you a hand. Find a collaborator to work on, whether it's lyrics or music itself. Find a collaborator to write some things, and start now. I can tell you that the Detroit Blues Society's competition will be in the summer. We just secured the date. It will be in July. I can't give you an exact because I just don't have it in front of me.
Right.
But if someone's interested in competing in that, I would say if you don't already have some original stuff, and if you do have it, hone it right now. Hone it, get it, sharpen it up. And if you don't, then start working on it, because that is what is likely going to propel you to the next round and the final round. That would be my number one piece of advice. I have one more piece I will tell you.
Go ahead.
When you're competing, don't wear black. So many musicians wear black, and the background is black. In most stages, the background is black. So you just blend right into the background.
All you see is a face, right?
Yeah, right.
No.
Johnny Cash wore black.
Well, yeah, Johnny Cash is the exception to the rule.
Wow.
But yeah, I tell people that all the time. Don't wear black. You just blend right into the background.
He hates when I wear black.
I do. And it, this is it's a show. You're performing. It's not just people there to listen. They're there to watch you. They're there to see you. It's a show. So, give them a show. And that starts with your outfit. I don't want to call it a costume. That starts with your outfit.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And before I ask James for his comments and advice, let me just say the Capital Area Blues Society here in Lansing is going to be having their Blues Brawl in May. I don't have the date. It's usually around the middle of the month on a Sunday afternoon, and we always have a good cast of judges from outside of the area that come in. So there's definitely good impartial judging that goes on. We don't have any insiders that judge the competition, which I think is really important if you want to maintain integrity. But James, I wanted to get your thought. Any information you can pass along or advice to people that are interested?
Well, just if you're interested in competing, for me, I'm getting to the point of my life where I'm if there's something that I haven't done, it's like, you know what? It's life's too short. Just try to go for it. So that's kind of what, I'm not big on competitions, but it was like, okay, we got the DBS, and then, Ken's always, we've always said last couple of years ago when we did it before, it was like, well, if you win, you don't have to go. But if it doesn't matter, just try to go for it. And we got we won here in Detroit, and it was like, well, let's do it. No matter what, let's do it. So we did it, and it was great. So I mean, that's my takeaway and my advice is if you have an inkling to do it, just go for it and try to do it. Get it. Sign up for your local challenge and do it. Because don't worry about what anybody else thinks to begin with. Just go out there and play your heart out.
There you go. And finally, guys, any plans to do it again in some form or fashion, or is this a one and done for you?
James, that's kind of a complicated answer, isn't it?
Well, I mean, everybody struggles with work and stuff like that. And I didn't have to pull strings per se, but it was kind of like for my job, I had to was like, this might have been my one shot to take that time off in the winter / fall, if you will. I don't think if Ken and I are still playing when I retire, then we'll probably do it again.
Okay. I'm fine with that. And actually, Irv, our board had our recent meeting to decide what's going on for the summer, or for the year, I should say. And I volunteered to run the challenges. And I say challenges because we hope to have two. One for the solo duo on one date, and then one for
separate dates. Okay.
Yeah, and then
All
one
right.
for the bands at another date. The band one is secured. The solo duo is not yet. But I am going to be running it since I'm going to be the coordinator. I'm not going to compete. I may end up going to Memphis to judge again. But use the experience we had in playing and
Sure.
put that into my judging expertise, I guess. But definitely we're not going to be competing in the near future. It was, again, because of the unique circumstance. But it was fun, man. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was great.
That's cool. So
Yeah.
any plans for an album in the near future, guys? Because I'll tell you, I'm kind of excited to see what you guys bring to the table. I mean, I got to meet Citizen Jones over in Grand Rapids last year and this year, and really enjoy the duo act that I saw with them, and would love to see what you guys have.
Well, those guys are great. I know Tim and Dan, and they're great. There's a club in Detroit that I book, and I booked them in the past, and I booked them again coming up. I think it's in May or June or something like that.
Okay.
So they're great. We are going into a studio at the end of this month to record. We don't know exactly what yet. I mean, maybe 3-4 songs. We'll see how.
Okay, so like an EP.
See how the process goes. We did record a CD when we were a trio back in 2008. My brother Greg was in a band with us called Murrow's Boys. It was basically two guitars and a harmonica. And we recorded a 14-track CD of all original music. I got to say, I'm honest, I'm not that familiar with the recording process. I mean, from behind the board, I'm not familiar at all. But as a musician, I'm still. It's really new for me. It takes me a minute to get used to it.
Don't move away from the microphone.
We're going to get with this, but we're going to give it a shot.
We were at about 2018, 2019, DeSoto Drive, besides being a duo, we had a full band 5-piece.
Right.
And
wow.
we did record I guess, what do you call that, Ken?
I don't
Like a
know,
bootleg?
demo?
Yeah, we did kind of bootleg demo. We did it on our own, and I thought it turned out pretty good. We're no longer that 5-piece anymore. It's just Ken and I still, so we have plenty of stuff for an album. It would just be, sitting down and deciding to do it. And I think we probably should, because we need to get these songs. I think Dave Kramer said one time, Dave Kramer from the Alligators, at that first blues challenge, when we played, he came up to me and he said, "Man, you guys got some really cool songs. If you guys recorded this stuff." And I was like, "Well, some, but not all of it." He goes, "You guys got to get this stuff down, because when you're gone, them songs are gone." So there's something to be said about that. So I think it's in the cards real soon.
I think that's a cool thing, and I hope you follow through with it. Personally, I think I'd like to, if it's possible, get a copy of the recording from 2008. I'd love to hear it. Or 18, you said 2018.
It's 2008. Yeah.
Yeah, 2008.
I can get. You know what? There's a whole box of CDs in my house, so I'll make sure you get one.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'll be
Sure.
cool, and I can send you my address and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I'd definitely like to hear it. And by all means, now that you've been on here as a guest, very simple rule: once you come on as a guest, anytime you have something to promote, be it an album or a tour, you come on. I have a microphone for you anytime. So
That sounds
you guys
great.
are always welcome to come back. Where can we send people to learn about a little bit more about DeSoto Drive, or maybe book you for a gig if they're interested?
It's our Facebook page is kind of our main communication outlet to the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
We will make sure to include that. And, if you want to have is there a number on the page for them to reach out to you, or?
Yeah, my number's on there.
Okay.
Yep.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Right. Yeah.
Well, Ken Marten, James Murphy, of course, some of you might know them better simply as DeSoto Drive. It's been a pleasure to have you guys join me today on Time Signatures. All the best to you both, and I will be looking for you out and about this summer. I promise you.
It sounds great, Irv. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Jim.
All right, guys, stick around here for a minute. I'll tie the ribbons on, and I'll say goodbye to you properly.
Okay.
Before we close this edition of Time Signatures, I want to tell you about Joe Bonamassa's Keeping the Blues Alive Foundation. Now, some of you know the KTBA for their annual cruises, but did you also know that they have a program called Fueling Musicians? This initiative is designed to provide financial support such as food, shelter, and more to help struggling musicians, music educators, and industry professionals get back on their feet. They did a lot with that back during COVID. Additionally, they have also formed KTBA Records, a label that has reignited the music careers of musicians like Dion, Joanna Connor, Larry McRae, and others. There is also a lot more that they do. Please visit keepingthebluesalive.org today and make a tax-deductible donation in any amount. It's time and money well spent, and as always, thank you so much for your consideration. And that wraps up this edition of Time Signatures. Once again, my thanks to our guests, Ken Marten and Jim Murphy, but also to you, for without you, none of this would be possible. Jim Ervin reminding you, keeping the blues alive is everyone's responsibility, but preserving the history of the blues one story at a time is my mission. Until next time, so long, everybody.
This has been Time Signatures with Jim Ervin, presented by the Capital Area Blues Society in Lansing, Michigan. For more information on cabs, visit capitalareablues.org. You can find this episode and past episodes at lccconnect.org. The Time Signatures theme song, Michigan Roads, is used by permission and was written by Root Doctor, featuring Freddie Cunningham.
You know I'm trying, baby, driving up and down these Michigan roads, yeah.
Until next time, keep on keeping the blues alive.
Baby, I'm